Okay. Final two is the Edmonton Oilers. Let's start there.
Yeah, you're gonna hate this one. If you hated Zibanejad, you're gonna hate this one.
Oh boy.
Hyman licked. As in they're choking. They are choking.
Oh boy.
How do you win games 2 and 3 by a combined score of 14-2?
Right.
And not win this series. This will be a huge choke job if the Edmonton Oilers lose this series.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is that
they played for 15 minutes last night. They played for 15 minutes. They did. They played a 60 whatever minute game.
Yeah.
And for 15 of those minutes they played.
If you told me that after the first game Mike Smith would be actually not bad, then I would have said, well, I guess the Edmonton Oilers run away with this. I'm loving these hypotheticals today. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, if you told me that Mike Smith would be, just fine, one of the better versions of Mike Smith we've seen, then I'd be like, well, great. Yeah. Good for Edmonton getting a sweep because all they need is league average from their goalie. But boy, howdy. Are they ever screwing up on this one?
Well, to put out Kulak and Keith on the first, I know Sheldon Keefe got roasted for putting Justin Holl out in the first for the first shift of game 4,
right?
But to put out Duncan Keith and Brett Kulak, for the first shift of overtime, it defies it. Just like. I just assumed Darnell Nurse was going to play all of the overtime.
And he's the guy that can do it.
He wasn't going to come off the ice, right?
Yeah.
And they just got dummied. They just got dummied in overtime. It wasn't close.
Yeah.
Edmonton didn't have the puck.
But even Duncan Keith and Brett Kulak as a pairing defies logic.
Yeah.
Because Brett Kulak did not play well paired with David Savard.
Right.
Brett Kulak played very well paired with Jeff Petrie.
Right.
Who is Darnell Nurse a better version of?
Yeah.
Jeff Petrie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A guy like Duncan Keith, I mean, at this stage in his career, he offers little.
I don't understand how you start and lean on those guys like that. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to your team. It's
But Ethan, not Ethan Bear, because he's on Carolina now.
Yeah. Cody Ceci, who? Yeah.
It's not a good defense core.
No, it's not.
It's not a good defense core.
It's terrible.
Is the bottom line to look
terrible.
at it, And I mean, they just didn't have the money. Brett Kulak is a good pickup for the money, but in reality, when you're looking at the defense core and the trade deadline, you're not circling Brett Kulak.
No.
He's one of those guys that an already good team picks up and it makes them better. And it's wow. It's
this is disgraceful. If they lose this series, it's a disgrace.
A lot of parallels are made between the Oilers and the Maple Leafs for their top heavy contracts, for the fact the first overall picks, even with Matthews and McDavid, and for all of this stuff, and of course for their playoff choking, right? And if the Leafs lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning, I kind of go, okay.
I get it.
But if the Oilers lose to the Los Angeles Kings, all due respect to the Los Angeles Kings, buddy.
Yeah.
This is why I tried to radio Bob McKenzie.
This is here. This is for the taking.
Yeah.
And you're just giving it back. You're just giving it back.
All right. Well, last one on the list then, the Los Angeles Kings.
Kemped.
That's the best one. That's the best one of the
day.
Yeah, that's the best one of the day.
I didn't think it was that good. Yeah. Anyways.
Why don't you think it's that good?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. Did Adrian Kempe have the quietest?
You've been wrong before.
Yeah, I have many times. Did Adrian Kempe have the quietest 35 goals in NHL history this year?
Probably. But also that's partially a result of the fact that everybody was scoring a lot of goals this year.
Right. And he didn't have a lot of points. He only had he was Cy Young, right? He was 30, 35 and 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this guy is, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised. Somebody asked me last night while we were watching the game, and it was another writer, so I'm not going to say who it is, but he said, when was he drafted? 2018? I said, no. He was drafted 2014. Right. He was in the Aaron Ekblad draft.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he's a guy who is very, very opportunistic.
Right.
As this team is. I mean, Phil Deneau is, I mean, how do you explain that? Phil
Deneau has always had good offensive chops.
Yeah.
He's always been a good forechecker. He's always, he's an excellent forechecker.
Yeah.
He is, he's fast. He's an excellent skater. But the role that he was asked to play for the Montreal Canadiens was his defensive game.
Yep.
You know, but there was clearly more to unlock. And if he's not playing, like last year in the playoffs, he played like 25 minutes a night, right? And it was because he was meant to shut down the other team's top two lines.
Right. Yeah.
He was basically a defensive pair. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so if you all of a sudden you put him into a situation where he can pick his matchup a little bit better, and of course Anze Kopitar, being another perennial Selke candidate, it's not surprising to me as a guy who's watched and covered the Montreal Canadiens that Phil Deneau is being offensive, because he's always had the chops, but starting every single shift in the defensive zone for the Montreal Canadiens doesn't exactly help, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a huge shock. I mean,
there was a point last year when you knew when he was out there, you were getting nothing. Yeah. You were getting no offense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it was just a given. You weren't getting, he may shut down the other team, but you're getting nothing.
Yeah. But it was because his line was Lehkonen, Paul Byron or something that, right?
Yeah.
It's just three guys that are some of the three most defensively responsible guys in the league. But Deneau is a true two-way player.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I find when a player is called a two-way player, what they really mean is a defensive player.
Right. Right.
That happens to be a forward.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But Deneau is a true two-way player.
He really is.
And he is being unlocked as such right now. He's got 3 goals in this series.
5 points.
Yeah. 2 assists.
Yep.
And his line has been the talk of the town.
Yep.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, we should talk about Barry Trotz. And before we talk about Barry Trotz, don't forget, leave a review. Check out kencampbell.substack.com, Hockey Unfiltered, the writing portion. And, of course, don't forget to check out our live streams and stay tuned to Twitter at Hockey No Filter, where we will be announcing other live streams if and when we decide to do them. You guys better make them fun, or else we're never going to do that again.
I don't even understand what we're doing, so I'll just go along for the ride.
You sit there,
right,
and we'll watch
and
hockey
stupid things,
and you talk to me here,
right? Okay,
yeah. So I think that those are tasks we can handle.